Okay. Oh, all right. All right. So about to give this thing another go. AirFoilLabs. AirFoilLabs King Air 350. Take two. So got everything unhooked. Austin Executive Airport. And we're gonna try to get to Baton Rouge. We can. There we go. All right, so got all this fun stuff going here. Parking brake set, oh that's good. All right, everything should be good to go for engine startup. I'm not sure like why all these things default with the lights on. Daytime should need lights. Not yet. All right, so brake power on. I'll clear those masters. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and fire up right engine. Our 14%. Go ahead and bring in some fuel. RPM's coming up. All right, go ahead and yeah, that starter. Okay. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so RPM up on that right engine. Bring up the fuel condition lever to max. Make sure clear on right hand side. Start left engine. Okay. Alright, DT coming up right there, and there we go. Alright. Let's go ahead and bring down our condition levers, low idle-ish, somewhere around there. The next thing we want to do is reset our generators. Or we'll just not do that because my mouse wants to spaz out of me. There we go. Damn, alright. Good there. And then we'll just start with the power and kind of work our way over. So double check. Let's see, got our inverters on. Avionics power. EFIS power. Oops. Our flight management system. That's coming on. Go. Radios on there. Com nav. Transponder. COM2. An ADF that no one hardly ever uses anymore. Alright, so while that's setting up, we'll go ahead and set up our flight plan real quick. Let's see, Echo Deco, Kilo Echo Delta Charlie, and then Kilo Bravo Tango Romeo, and throw it in there. Like I said, flight number doesn't really matter. Departure will be 3-1 if I'm not mistaken. Lexi 2 with the JJO transition. Man, I can't talk today. Let's see. Land sim, let's see where we're at. Alright, and then direct ENV. Then from there, be Baton Rouge, which I think. I bet yeah, that's right. Bam. So, flight planners, you can use either one. You can use, I mean, I've used the ALPH flight planner, which is pretty nice, or you can use SimBrief. Flights, as far as flight sim wise, I mean, SimBrief is my opinion, probably one of the most intuitive per se, so probably be worth checking out if you haven't checked it out already. Wind's died down a little bit. Let's see. So we'll type in our numbers and we'll. Oh yeah, 62 feet. There we go. There we go. All right, where are we heading? No, not ready yet. 310. Let's see. We're 4,500 feet. That's plenty. All right, so got our speed bug set. Mosey on down here. Woo! Cabin altitude. Bring that up to like 20. I normally, like I said, I normally go like 1,000 feet up, give or take. 28,000. Good right there. Engine anti-ice is on. And those of you who don't know, your engine anti-ice, the engine anti-ice switch is basically opens up like a little duct or door. So if you're ingesting any foddery thing, it hopefully comes out of a little bypass there rather than into that engine. And let me double check her, see if we want to 35. Alright, so that's good there. It's okay. Oh, that looks good. Everything's set. Taxi light on. And we'll bring that up to normal for right now. And yeah, cool. Alright, so go ahead and start that taxi. Oops. Interesting. So these work. some reason, our flight controls do not work. Let's see. And let's check something real quick. There we go. Alrighty. Alright, yeah, flight controls look like they are now free and correct. And before we move on, course, bam, there we go. Alright, now let's try this again. There we go. I think that's a sign that it's time for me to look into getting some new flight controls. I've had this yoke for close to like 10 years now, so probably about that time. Probably about that time. All right, so yeah, it's taking off out of here. What we're gonna do is gonna fly runway heading, which would be like 3-1 something, 310 somewhere around there, and continue as filed. So we'll just continue on with the flight plan, about an hour and 10 minutes or so, give or take. And go from there. So set up. And let's see. I'm thinking, no, I won't do that. I won't do that. I think it'll be all right. Let's think about throwing in a little flaps and takeoff. We should be fine. So, but yeah, so I mean, really, really nice airplane. Those of you who hadn't viewed some of the videos on it or did any research on it, I mean, it does not come without bugs. I mean, there are, you know, a few issues here and there, but nothing, in my opinion, that would hinder you from being able to, you know, jump in and go. I mean, so they have this really intuitive menu system here for your views. Once we get to cruising altitude, we'll check them out a little more. That's pretty much everything you need. I really can't think of anything that you wouldn't have access to from this little panel here. Then of course you got your camera view, so you take a view all the way back to the cabin there, so you don't have to program all those views that we normally have to. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. None of that. So really nice airplane, taxis very well, and this is, in my opinion, where X-Plane kind of shines over, P3D in some aspects. Is, P3D hasn't really gotten a decent grasp on the turboprop modeling. So, excuse me. You don't have to rely on brakes as far as ground handling is concerned on turboprops. You can really take advantage of that um, prop pitch and prop angle as a means of speed control, which is what you want to do anyway. You want to try to conserve your brakes as much as possible to prevent a bunch of excess heat in case you need them on a projected takeoff. Alright, so get out of it just a little bit there. Ease on the brakes, and we'll kind of get ourselves angled up. Alrighty, so normally, if this isn't the first flight of the day, it's pretty easy to get everything set up. I mean, basically, your engine ignition, of course, you want to follow the checklist, but, if you don't, I mean, it's pretty easy to set this airplane up for takeoff. Engine ignition, engine NTIs, I would say, unless you're in icing conditions, you can leave this off, or if you're in a situation where you're taking off from a grass strip and you want to try to mitigate as much FOD ingestion as possible, then you'd want to leave your engine NTIs on. So, but for right now, we can leave that off. Your bleed air, want to try to conserve that if we can, while still trying to maintain the comfort of the passengers if possible. So we'll go ahead and bring our bleed air from low to normal. Pitch trim off. Sometimes you'll get that. You just recycle the switch. While I'm down here, I'll just recycle rotor boost as well. And gear trim set up for takeoff. Go ahead and turn on windshield anti-ice. Landing lights on. Everything down here looks good. I normally go ahead and turn on my standby pumps. I've seen checklists not include that, but for that master caution, double check your annunciator panel. Normally I'll try to kind of make sure my prop levers are where they need to be. I'll get into that once we take off, because it's not so much, I don't think it's a bug. I don't think it's any kind of bug in regards to the software or anything. I think it's just, or it might be a, it might be a little bit of a issue, but I'll get into it here in just a little bit once we get off the ground. Get ourselves set up for takeoff there. And press the go around button. And so we're about ready to go. So we'll bring in our condition levers to full. Let that line out there. And we'll bring in set our static power there, holding the brakes. Alright, get our torque set and release the brakes. Got a little bit of right aileron in.
Airspeed alive. 60 knots.
Okay, taking some of that correction out.
Positive rate.
Alright, 105. You're up there.
Attitudes check. Gear indicates up.
Alright. Here is up. Double check engines, make sure everything's within limits. Alright, so normally we'll go ahead and press that sync button and we'll climb out in airspeed mode. And we can probably go ahead and hit that nav button as well. Of course, we're in IMC now, so we're focused on flying the airplane. Flying that flight director. A little bit of trim. And while we're nice and trimmed out, we'll go ahead and bring that drop RPM back a smidget. Very cloudy today. Kind of equalize our torque a little bit. I mean, you're not going to get them to match up 100%, but you can kind of get them in the ballpark. Good to go. But as far as controllability, this thing's extremely docile for an airplane of its size, and very very easy to trim out, very easy to control. Very easy to control. Of course, my frame rates are in the toilet right now. Let's see if I can. All these clouds. Over a minute now. Let's turn this down there. My frame rates are like abnormally low for some reason. Let's see if I can. And let's do direct to hook. And let's see. Oh, my frame rates are awful. I've never seen them this bad. Holy smokes. Yeah, I've never seen them this bad. Let's make a setting adjustment real quick. Bring that down just a little bit. I think there's something else going on. I think there's something else going on. Alright, they're a little better, not much at all though. Let's see. My frame rates are awful. Let's see, CPU load is low. Let's see if we can tinker with the settings. That's way too low. See. I am curious, however. Just out of curiosity. Okay, overfast cumulus. Resume current flight. I really think it's something else though. Really think it's something else. Control. Active. Let's see. Strange. Very strange. Really, really strange. There's no way. I don't think I've ever seen. That is weird. Magically, my frame rate seemed to have improved. I'm wondering, is it? Very odd. So I closed Active Sky. Yeah, I closed Active Sky, reopened it, and frame rate so far seem to have lined out. My biggest thing is salvage the flight. Salvage the flight. Thank goodness for that. Woof. Who knows? May have been some sort of thread issue or something. I don't know. Very strange. Anywho, we're let's see, right at 10,000 feet. Now, as you climb, the air becomes thinner, so your torque decreases. So what we'll need to do, you'll need to kind of balance it a little bit. I'll try to keep it like 86, give or take. 86, 87. Now, don't be surprised if you do notice once you get in the higher flight levels like 270, even heck, in the threes. Sometimes as low as like 180, 170. Your turbine RPM will be 100%. That's normal. That's totally normal. So don't be too concerned about that. But the main thing, you just want to make sure your ITT is within limits. But you can kind of look at that green arc there. I mean, that just gives you an idea of the capabilities of these engines. I mean, they're very, very tough. So, not, bulletproof. I mean, they're pretty close to it, but not bulletproof. So just keep that in mind as you're doing your thing. So that's the biggest thing you want to monitor: your air turbine temperatures, work, oil pressures. Make sure those are good, and go ahead and turn off that landing light as well. The standby pumps, you can go ahead and turn those off. Let's see both sides, you can turn those off as well. Let's see, so far so good. Now, normally in cruise, I'll bring the prop RPM down to about 1500 or so. That gives a nice quiet cabin for the for the passengers. So, and then I believe the King Air at one point came with um, an active noise cancellation system. So basically, had some speakers built in to the interior of the cabin, and had some electronic wizardry in there, and that in essence matched the frequencies of the engines and things like that to try to dole out some of the engine noise. And from what I've been told, when it's working, I mean it's almost, I mean it's a little quieter than some jets, but um, they've had a lot of issues, I've been told, in the past with the system um, malfunctioning, things like that. So later on, Beechcraft implemented a passive noise cancellation system. So it makes it it helps, but it isn't as effective as active noise canceling, but it's still quieter nonetheless. But I mean, you can bring the props down on this thing pretty low. Like I said, 1500, which you'll notice here in a minute, 1500 RPM, and it's get a nice drone of the engines, but nothing overbearing that would affect comfort. It's not like in a Metroliner or something like that, that you have to deal with the excess noise. So that helps a lot. Bring the bleed air back up a little bit. At 16,000 feet. Really cloudy today. There's 16,000 feet, so I'll go ahead and bring that torque up just a little bit. Keep that vertical speed going. And dive back here in the cabin, you can actually take a look there. I mean, I love the attention to detail with the static wicks. And you'll even notice turbulence. You'll get a, not the crazy wing flex that you see from a lot of airliners, but I mean, aircraft around this size, you will get a certain degree of wing flex. So it's pretty. Notice to added level of detail there. Hit the camera button, jump back in that seat, and there you go. Alright, we're at 18,000 feet, so we'll zero altimeter to standard, which is 2902. And as you can see, of course, we're mentioning, as you climb higher in altitude, your torque values will also fall off for the same throttle input. So have to stay on top of that. Of course, your turbine RPMs are creeping up as well. So we'll up with just a little bit, keep that in the 90s there. just a smidget. And like I said, cruising altitude is like 27,000, so we're not too far from it. But I mean, your ideal mission profile for this type of aircraft's around 400 miles, give or take. Now, I mean, of course, it can go much further than that. I think the ER version can run like 2,600 miles, which, you know, I mean, it's insane. But I mean, just, I mean, the size of the cabin. I mean, you have. I mean, I can totally see. You know, I can totally see. You know, it's 1,000 miles comfortably. Now, you may not get there as quick as if you're in like a Falcon or something like that. I mean, 1,000 miles, I would probably look at maybe, you know, taking a jet. And of course, you know, a jet, you don't have that appeal, you know, that you know you have with, you know, private jets. Kind of, you know, level of allure of, you know, being in a jet. But I mean, this will get you there. This will definitely get you there. I believe I was looking at an article I was reading, and for, you know, your typical 400-mile mission, you know, given, you know, ideal conditions, things like that, as far as flight time is concerned, the King Air would arrive, you know, roughly, you know, 15 minutes behind the jet, which isn't too bad. Isn't too bad, you know, given, you know, like, you know, for smaller outfits, you know, or you know, or, you know, companies that, or organizations that, you know, run, you know, to the adjacent state or a state or so over, or something like that, you know, something like, you know, 400-500 miles. I mean, this will get you there quite comfortably. Quite comfortably. Anything farther than that, not saying that couldn't be done, but anything further than that, I mean, it's kind of, you know, if you had, you know, there's a situation we had options, right? So, you know, let's say if we, you know, had a flight from, I don't know, Dallas, you know, Dallas to Phoenix or something like that, and, you know, we could either take this or, you know, Citation 550 or something like that, or, you know, some people say a Flow Station 550. I mean, it'll be close, you know. The 550 really isn't known. I mean, it's kind of like step into a jet. So between a King Air and something like that, then you know, it'd be kind of close. But you know, if you're talking like a Gulfstream or, you know, a Learjet any series, I mean, it's just gonna blow the doors off of it. I mean, there's not gonna, I mean, there's no comparison. So in that situation, yeah, I could probably see taking a jet, you know, in that aspect. But you know, this thing can probably get you from Dallas to Phoenix quite comfortably. I mean, heck, you know, Dallas to San Diego quite comfortably, you know, depending on the winds. I want to say the useful range is around like 1,000 miles, something like that. Even further than that, I want to say maybe 1,400 miles. And now the ER version, you know, I mean, could darn near make an Atlantic crossing. And in fact, probably set up right, probably could make an Atlantic crossing. I mean, not that you probably want to, but, you know, it could probably, you know, jump from landmass to landmass, things like that, to make the Atlantic crossing. But I mean, I want to say it's like 2,600 miles is the range for 350 ER. So I'm there. I mean, that's, I mean, it just goes to show you the versatility of this airframe. I mean, it's been around for a very long time. So Beechcraft has, you know, definitely perfected the design. It is a workhorse. Can get you from point A to point B. You know, in a relatively timely fashion. you know, which makes it ideal for, you know, like I said, you know, smaller corporations, smaller outfits, or a lot of the charter, a lot of the charter outfits out there will offer this as a lower cost alternative. You know, since they are considerably cheaper to operate than most urban turbine type aircraft. So, really, really nice airplane. Now, AirFoilLabs, all right, about 1,000 foot to go. AirFoilLabs does market this thing as study level. I don't know enough about the airframe to say that per se. To really say that it's study level, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone could probably chime in. I mean, I would say it's probably pretty close. Operating air, I know just based off operating aircraft with the E6 in them, it's in the ballpark. I just wouldn't say, you know, it's super close. I mean, it's in the ballpark, but I don't know. It's like another frame rate dip. I I think I know what it is. So I'm using the Active Sky Cloud Pack, and I just updated yesterday, and I um I think I did the high resolution instead of the high performance, which is why my frame rates are being annihilated at the moment. So probably after this, I'll look at installing the higher performance package instead of the higher resolution. I mean, as long as you have clouds, I don't know. It's never really been that big on high resolution clouds. I mean, they're nice. They add to the immersion for sure, but it's just had, just never was a huge deal for me. Yes. Turbulence, segment area, okay, cool. And it would be those days where the clouds are very heavy. I know even here in the Dallas area, it's got a pretty thick overcast. Probably getting that up here a little later. And double check the kind of take a look at your pressurization panel. Make sure your cabin altitude is looking good, which obviously is, otherwise would have passed out a while ago. Let's see. And it is debatable. I mean, I know some checklists call for your engine auto ignition to be off, but I mean, there's a guide. I don't know if it's Mike's. I can't think of the name at the moment, but most of the time, most people you talk to, they'll recommend leaving the auto ignition on. I know for the 200s they do, so I just leave them on here as well. But as I said before, as far as configuration per phases of flight, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to do. Like for example, like your prop RPM, you can probably swap that down. And then just keep an eye on your torque. And so, I mean, you can only, the cabin noise decreases dramatically. Yeah, I think we're around like 1550, somewhere around there. Huge difference. See if I can make something happen with these frame rates here. So wherever we're at is a huge overcast layer. Oh yeah. Nine frames a second, but that's awful. See if I can at least. Nice. Edition. Then there's like multiple layers. I know that's not helping at all. I know that's not helping one bit. Oh yeah, not helping one bit. Oh, it's awesome. That's awesome. Let's see, aviation weather. Okay, so, oh, good grief, sailing 500 feet, sailing 600 feet. Oh, wow. Overcast 1,500 feet, Beaumont, Lake Charles, overcast 1,300 feet. Yeah, looks like we're just chasing the tail end of the system here, and we're just gonna be in it. Let's see, come out of discontinuity. Direct to. $246 miles. Holy smokes. Gosh, I have to fix this. Let's see here. This is awful. Weather control. Let's see. One, two aircraft. I don't think I've ever ran into weather that's just like, I mean, it's even destroying active sky. Holy cow. See here. Goodness gracious. Hmm. Interesting. Bring down our yeah, it's those clouds. It's the clouds. So right now I am using historical weather. Gosh, I keep forgetting it's been like 2 weeks of, it's been 2 freaking weeks of like just nastiness. Alright, hold on. Awesome, overcast everything. Oh my gosh. I can't seem to win. Cannot seem to win. Hard to believe that we have yet to find a relatively clear day. But it seems like this is the only way I'm going to be able to get through the flight, is to find a day where it's just severe clear. Yeah, we'll just run that. And of course, yay, magically, frame rates aren't garbage anymore. Awesome. Let's see. Go. Probably come up a little bit with torque. All right, let's see. Now that price has been averted, I'm going to run to the restroom and be right back. Alrighty, let's see. So it looks like we're about 77 miles out from our final approach fix to Baton Rouge. So 70 miles we'll probably start that descent. Get everything set up and configured. Landing, of course, gives you the capability of putting all these parameters in. So what you can do, you can probably do like 100 pounds less. So you can probably do like 13,500 altitude at destination, I believe. Look here. It does seem aggravating having to put all this in, but the more data you're able to apply the calculator, the more accurate your speeds will be. So if you do have the capability or the time to put all this information in, it would greatly help you out in regards to getting speeds figured out. So, let's see. The forest at your mom's, thunderstorm. Jeez. All right. So I am not %. Well, you know what? I digress. We're not using real weather. That works out even better. It would be nice to use real weather, but what's going on in Baton Rouge right now is not something you want to be a part of at all. Like, it's pretty bad, like thunderstorms, freaking, you name it, it's happening. So we'll work with what we got right here. So what I'm doing here, we're gonna go ahead and bleed off some airspeed, and as we're bleeding off airspeed, we can go ahead and throw this guy in vertical speed mode. Now, contrary to most add-ons you've used or aircraft in general, you don't get an actual digital readout of the vertical speed. You kind of have to just press it and kind of watch your VSI here, wait for it to line out, and then you kind of update as appropriate. There you go. So I have like 1,800 foot per minute, 1,900 foot per minute. And then we'll Try to walk these guys all the way back to flight idle. And dive back in here, see what's going on. Not a whole lot. So I mean, if when you look at it, I mean, it's not that bad as far as space. I mean, like like I said, you got, you'll hear people, well, it's not a jet, this and this and that or whatever. But I mean, this cabin is actually more roomier than some jets are out there, especially your smaller ones, your VLJs, things like that. So definitely has quite a bit of space in the back. Then if you like, what you can do, you can turn normal, very start, hung start. So you can go to cruise there. So for example, auto feather off. So I've been told, there's a lot of guys out there who just leave auto feather on. I mean, it does. I mean, if you do lose an engine, it does minimize the amount of time, that the props are feathered. So you lose an engine, bam, props are feathered. So hence, the reason why I leave them on, but then some people don't. So it just kind of depends there. Let's see here, half over. So yeah, past that. Then this gives you a pretty handy chart for your pressurization controller. So what you would do as you start your descent, you set the pressurization controller for the aircraft's altitude. I mean, for the airport altitude. And so basically on those altimeter settings is the amount of offset to add to the field elevation of the airport. So for example, let's say the airport's at 500 feet and your altimeter for that your barometric pressure for that particular area is at like 2990, then you would add a 500 foot offset to that, so it'll be 1,000 feet. So that fuel balance, auto feather arm, of course. Cabin signs, consider. Most of all these I'm gonna have on anyway. And exterior lights, altimeter set, all that fun stuff. Then we'll dive a little further into this a little later. Say 3 or 4 miles out. Now, let's say for example, I'm kind of curious because if you look, you don't really see anywhere where you can get your ground speed. So what you could do, I don't have a chart in front of me, so I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit. We'll find us a VOR, which is I think LSU. So you got your Fighting Tiger Vortec VOR, so we'll tune down our nav 1. And which our DME is going to be reading off of our nav1, nav2 film, depending on how you have it set. But of course, it not only will it give you a DME from the VOR, but also give you roundabout ground speed, you know, fairly close, you know, so, you know, if you don't have a GPS or anything, because you would assume this would give you that, but your progress page is kind of gives your true airspeed, but you know, nothing in regards to your ground speed. Me. And pretty much at the stops there, so. See, I probably could kick on. I'm really curious to try real weather and see how the King Air fares in inclement weather conditions. You probably heard it firing up, and its airplane's probably going to be a little squirrely. Weather control, we'll put that button on the live weather and see. There's the visibility, there are the clouds. Man, there's a lot of freaking clouds. And there is frame rate drop. We'll try. Let's see here. Kind of watching my frames here as well, because if it gets bad to the point where it'll hinder our landing, we may have to look at something else. That something else being not using real weather. Come on, quit being weird. You can almost like zoom down here to stay down here to you. Yeah, it's like back down to 8. Oof. Just be aware, guys. Do not, I repeat, do not use the high resolution clouds from Active Sky. They look good, but wow. I mean, just, you flat out can't use them. Alright, we're 6,000. Let's see, push on to 2 grand. We can't see anything anyway, so we're just gonna kind of keep the heads down. Like I said, just as soon as I jump out of the sim, we're gonna install those, install the performance clouds instead of the high resolution. I forgot there's another, there's some more cloud textures that I used to use, and I can't think of the name of them to save my life, but they were amazing. But I forgot the name of them, so I had no choice but to use the clouds provided by Active Sky. Which, I mean, they're nice, but it's just, I mean, look at that. I mean, of course we're in them now, but the frame rates are terrible. So we're about 8 miles from Gossett. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and everything. All my NEI stuff is set, so I'm not too worried about that. I guess I should click this guy on. I'm not a big fan of it, but make sure we don't hit any. Inclement weather. Yeah, we're starting to get kind of close. So, okay, so frame rate's picked up. So basically, it's like, seems like once you hit the tops, it starts getting weird. So we're in between a layer right now. We might have to look at some alternatives as far as our approach. We may need to run a more precision type approach, which would be an ILS. I might have to shoot an ILS. Let me look here. ILS 1.3. Now we could do. I might have to do like 1.3. All right, getting close to 2,000 feet. What's the METAR? Okay. All right, so it should be clearing out here, but it's not. Add a little power in there. Got the power just a little bit. Really low ceiling. You might have to shoot an ILS. We'll give it the old college try. So we'll go ahead and bring our prop RPM up. Lead air is off. Landing lights on. Alright, so looks like all that's set. And we'll kick in our approach flaps. Boost pumps on. Go ahead and turn on anti-ice, I suppose. Yes, I know. And we'll bring that gear down. And we'll turn off the autopilot. There we go, got runway in sight there. Bring those flaps down the rest of the way. We did have a runway in sight at one point. Might be a little high. Kick in a little bit of a slip there. Not recommend it, but it'll get that vertical speed way the heck down. If you get in a pinch, it does help out. We're gonna have to just south of the threshold just a little bit. Try to bleed off some of this airspeed.
100 feet. 50 feet.
Little correction. Walk it out. Walk it out. Walk it out.
Props full.
There we go. Little nose down there. A little bit of reverse. A little bit of reverse. We'll go ahead and get out of it there. And bring our condition down. And should be good to go. We'll try to hurry up and clear the active. Now I did notice, as far as ground handling is concerned, this airplane for some reason responds to the tiller controls, whereas normally aircraft of this type, they don't have a tiller. So if you notice, you still don't get the most accurate or the most noticeable, the noticeable angle you're wanting, then it's probably because you have to use a tiller on this one instead of your pedals. Alright, so bring the condition levers back down to a low idle. Yeah, normally you want to err on the side of the caution and just, if you're not stabilized, just go around. There are circumstances, for example, if you're, if there's a storm system or something, right on your tail or something like that, and you want to at least give it one good try. There are certain things you can do. Doing a forward slip, especially on complex airplanes, is something like you want to try to lean away from doing. But things like that, S turns, tend to help out quite a bit as far as why am I going to the terminal? Tend to help out quite a bit to try to bleed off as much airspeed as possible. But if you do still come in a little hot, maybe like plus 8 knots, 10 knots, something like that, you can hang in ground effect just a little bit longer than normal, and kind of, don't just pitch up, but just kind of hold, kind of a level attitude, maybe plus 1 or 2 degrees, kind of hold it off, slowly bleed off power, not to eat up a bunch of room. It's just a balancing act for sure. There's no doubt about that, but you can, bleed off a little bit of airspeed depending on, your rollout. That's the reason why I try, if I know I'm going to be landing a little fast, I try to aim just south of the numbers if I can. And but despite even despite doing all that, sometimes just if it doesn't work, it's just, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. And you want to just go ahead and just go around and go around and give her another go. never tried, but yeah, we're gonna get those textures uninstalled and reinstalled with some higher performance textures, and we'll just park right next to this old 767 here. Alrighty, so up a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna turn these guys off. Drone light off. And it does, you know, there's nothing wrong with go ahead and hitting that cabin dump. Make sure that cabin, the pressurization should dump the remaining pressure, but you know, it's good to just go ahead and do that. And yeah, let's see, we'll roll through this little shutdown checklist here. Let's see, vault landing and flashing down, and park brake set. Auto feather off. Pretty much this is like turning off everything. Let's go. I mean, it's, you know, you can see what's going on here, but you know, basically, it's what you're doing, just turning off everything. So your FMS power, turning that off. Or if your mouse wheel doesn't cooperate, turn that off. Avionics master. Avionics master. Inverters, batteries charge, that's off, turn that off. ITT should be stabilized. Alright, and let's see, prop levers, bring those up to flight idle. And condition levers, fuel, cut off, both sides. And well, you can listen to that incessant clicking. And gain bar down, and cool. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So you can, God, get what kind of freaking clicking is that already? Let's see, open up the doors there. Head on out, get you a stretch, and let everybody out. Man, guys, oh, appreciate you guys swinging through. Hopefully, try to get some more content in over the weekend. Looking forward to it. So, be sure you chat back and be on maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, hopefully, for sure. And have some more. I'm really bothered by one thing though. Before I let you guys go, I'm really bothered by one thing. This is awesome. It really is. But one thing I have noticed is that and I think this aircraft's around like $50. As far as, you know, would I recommend it? I would say yes, but it's not going to be perfect. Prime example, normally you do not, well, especially pretty much in the airplane, you never want to land with the prop sync on. And we landed with the prop sync on, and, you know, no ramifications. So, you know, it's study level. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've never landed with the prop sync on, but I was just kind of curious to see if, you know, the if there were any real ramifications for doing that, and I really didn't notice anything. And I really didn't notice like the RPMs trying to match up, really much, if at all, or any inconsistencies like that. So I don't know. If you guys have an idea, please post on the comments there and let me know, because I don't know. Well, anywho, guys, I may jump in for some two blinder action. Probably, I don't know, maybe tonight, tomorrow, like I said, and we'll kind of see how it goes. But other than that, you guys have an awesome rest of your Friday. Happy Friday, those of you at work. And you guys be safe and take care of each other, and we'll see you later.